Hello and welcome to the Commander's Quarters, your Magic the Gathering source that helps you command your budget. This show and episodes like this one are possible thanks to viewers like you. If you're looking for an easy way to help support this show, make sure that you like, share, and subscribe. Also, hit that bell notification icon so you don't miss any new episodes. You can also go check out our playmats and other merchandise at thecommandersquarters.com. Another easy way to support this show is with our TCG Player affiliate links. So whether you're buying a deck or individual cards, you can use this general link right here or one in the description. And the final way that you can support this show is by supporting us directly by becoming a patron. There are many benefits to being a patron, and I truly couldn't do this without all their support. Hey everyone, Mitch coming in for the Commander's Core Studio. Welcome to the show. So recently I did an episode where I showed you how to win on turn 1 with Birgi, God of Storytelling. Now this was a magical Christmas land scenario where you needed the perfect hand to make it work. Now today's episode is similar, but different, because today I'm going to be showing you the perfect way to lose on turn 1. That's right, this is the most epic way to lose of all time. Now there are plenty of ways that you can lose on turn 1, but none quite like this. Because with this perfect way, at the end of turn 1, you're going to have no hand, nothing in play, no library, nothing in your graveyard, and everything is going to be in exile. Now you might be asking me, why would you build such a thing? And my answer to that is, of course, why not? Commander's a format where ridiculous things can happen. And what's more ridiculous than losing in the most epic way possible on turn 1? So for this to work, of course, we need a magical Christmas land hand. And it does happen because in magical Christmas land, you get what you want. So for this to work, we're going to be starting off with a Swamp, Tormod's Crypt, Dark Ritual, Demonic Consultation, Dredge, and One with Nothing. One with Nothing is a fan favorite of many players, because on its face when you first see it, it definitely appears to be one of the worst Magic cards of all time. But for this application's purposes, it's perfect. And if you haven't seen the Rhystic Studies episode on it, I highly recommend that you check it out. Sam does a fantastic job on the episode that he calls Magic's Best Worst Card. Anyways, rules lawyers out there, yes, technically I only showed 6 cards, and the 7th card really doesn't matter for this scenario, but let's just say it's a swamp. The other thing that doesn't matter for this first scenario is your commander, so let's just say it's Timret chosen from death. Or at least I should say that in this first scenario, it can work with any commander that has black in their color identity. But now let's get into the turn and talk about how this all works, and yes, technically you have to draw first, so let's just say that you drew a swamp. Again, for this scenario, this could be anything, it really doesn't matter. But now let's move on to this beautiful setup that I've made for you. On the left, starting in the top left, we've got the Exile zone. Bottom left, we've got the graveyard, bottom right, we've got our library, and top right, we've got our command zone. And in the top right of the whole screen, we've got our mana pool. Okay, everyone on the same page? Then let's go. First, let's play a swamp, but you don't have to tap it just yet, because our next move is going to be to cast Tormod's Crypt, which doesn't cost anything. Tormod's Crypt is an artifact that costs 0, and we can tap and sacrifice it and exile all cards from target player's graveyard. So this card is going to be key in getting rid of our graveyard completely. Tormod's Crypt is just about as efficient as it can get since it just costs 0. So now let's get back to our board and let's tap that swamp for a black. We're going to be using that mana to cast Dark Ritual. Dark Ritual is a fantastic card that can enable some turn 1 shenanigans because it is, well, a ritual. It's an instant for a black and it adds black, black, black to our mana pool. So essentially it turns 1 mana into 3. Now this is just temporary ramp, but that's exactly what we need. So let's get back to the board. Dark Ritual has resolved, so it's in our graveyard, and we've got 3 black mana. So we're going to use one of our 3 mana to cast Dredge. Now Dredge is a card that doesn't see very much play, but it's perfect for this scenario. It's an instant for a black, and it says sacrifice a creature or land, draw a card. This is a great way for us to ditch our land, and drawing a card really doesn't matter. So let's just say that we drew a swamp, but again, this can be absolutely anything. So let's get back to things with Dredge resolving. We sacrificed a swamp and we drew a card. We still have 2 mana left, and with one of them we're going to cast Demonic Consultation. Now this is a CEDH finisher usually used with Thassa's Oracle to win the game, but again in this scenario we're using it to help us lose the game, so there's that. Regardless, it's a very old card, so I'm gonna read its Oracle text. It's an instant for a black, and it says choose a card name. Exile the top 6 cards of your library, then reveal cards from the top of your library until you reveal a card with each chosen name. Put that card into your hand and exile all the cards revealed this way. Essentially, all you have to do is name something that's not in your deck and you exile your entire library. So, I don't know, maybe one of my childhood favorites, Sylvaas Rogue Elemental, let's name that. Sylvaas is a green card and this deck is mono black, so yeah, we're not gonna find it. So, getting back to things, Demonic Consultation resolves, exiling our entire library. And now we've got 1 mana left, and it's the moment that you've all been waiting for because it's time to cast everyone's favorite, One With Nothing. Again, I think Sam's title for his episode is very fitting. This is Magic's best worst card. One With Nothing is an instant for a black, and it's very simple. It just says, discard your hand. So yeah, the first time that many players, especially new players, see this card, the question in their mind is, why in the world is this a card, and why is it rare? Now, there are positive applications for this card where you could take advantage of actually discarding your hand, but that's not what I'm going to be covering today. For this scenario's purposes, discarding our hand for 1 mana is absolutely perfect already. So let's get back to things. We discard our hand, so it's all in the graveyard now. So at this point, we've got no hand, no library, and no mana left. The one thing that we do have, though, is Tormod's Crypt. Now, you might not know this, but fun fact, Tormod's Crypt exiles itself. Let's walk through it real quick. So we tap Tormod's Crypt to sacrifice it, and we're going to be targeting ourselves. So Tormod's Crypt is going to hit our graveyard first, and then it's going to exile all the cards from our graveyard. So Tormod's Crypt is actually in the graveyard before it all exiles, so it exiles itself as well. So now we've accomplished what we set out what we wanted to accomplish. We have no hand, nothing on the battlefield, nothing in our library, and nothing in our graveyard. Everything is in exile. Yes, Timred's still in the command zone, but I didn't specify that we need to get him in exile as well. So I hope that you enjoyed this episode. Wait, what's that? Okay, you're saying that I need to get Timred in exile now too. So, on turn 1, 99 cards in exile isn't good enough for you. Alright, let's go for 100. So let's tackle scenario number 2, everything in exile on turn 1, including the commander. Now for this to work, we do need a precise 7 cards in our hand. And that would be Swamp, Tormod's Crypt, Dark Ritual, Demonic Consultation, Dredge, One With Nothing, and now Culling the Weak. We've got one new addition, and we'll get into what it does and why it's important. So, Magical Crystal Land again, we get our exact hand, and yes, on turn 1 we do the draw, and it's a Swamp. Again, for this scenario, the card that we draw still does not matter. So, same setup as last time, you know all the zones, so let's jump into it. We play our Swamp, we don't tap it, we put down Tormod's Crypt. Now we tap our Swamp to add a black. We use that mana to cast Dark Ritual, and then it resolves and we add black, black, black to our mana pool. With 2 of that mana, we're going to cast our commander, Timred, chosen from Death. Now there are multiple commanders that can work with this, but basically you just need one that costs 2 mana. Because now you still have 1 mana left over and you can cast Culling the Weak. This is the one card that we added into our perfect Magical Crystal Land hand, so let's talk about what it does. You can tell it's an old card because it says mana source on it, and what kind of card type is that? But yeah, let's just read the Oracle text. It's an instant for a black, and its Oracle text says, as additional cost to cast this spell, sacrifice a creature, add black, 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 black. Basically, sacrifice a creature, get 4 mana. This is essentially the perfect card for this situation. It's going to give us back our mana from casting our commander, and this, and then 1 extra. So if we get back to the board state, Timred's going to be in our graveyard because we definitely didn't choose to put it back in our command zone because that would just be silly. So essentially now we're in basically the exact same situation that we were in the last scenario. I do say basically because technically we've got 1 extra mana. Now that really doesn't matter, so just follow that exact same play pattern that we had last time. So we do all those things and then we end up with this. We have no cards in our hand, nothing on the field, nothing in our library or our graveyard, and our command zone is empty as well. Everything is in exile. That's 100 cards in exile on turn 1. Okay, you happy now? Wait, what? Okay, yeah, I know technically we don't lose on turn 1. We've got to wait until our next turn, and then we fail to draw, so then we lose from there. You want to lose before then? Okay, I mean, that seems a little over the top. Okay, whatever, let's just do it. If you're super fancy and you literally have to lose before pretty much anything else goes on, here's how you do it. You need a delayed draw effect to make this work. So some options are Mishra's Bauble, Urza's Bauble, or Barb's Sextant. Now, yes, we are already at 7 cards for Magical Christmas Land, but again, it is Magical Christmas Land, so we just say that we drew it with our 8th, okay? Essentially, each of these cards do a different thing, but the most important thing that they do is that they draw us a card at the beginning of the next turn's upkeep. So when our opponent's upkeep hits, we can't draw a card because we have no cards to draw, and then we lose. And actually, at the end of this entire scenario, if you wanted an empty mana pool as well, Barb's Sextant's going to be your choice. Regardless, are you happy now? No cards in your hand, nothing in play, nothing in your library, your graveyard, in your command zone, no mana in your mana pool if you want that, everything in exile, and you can lose before your opponent basically gets their turn. Okay, this might be the most ridiculous episode that I've ever made. But to make it even more ridiculous, in the comments below, please let me know if you've got a way to do this in an even more efficient way. Again, you know the rules. Turn 1, get rid of absolutely everything and put it in exile. Why? Why not? Anyways, thank you so much for sticking with me through what might have been my most ridiculous episode of all time, and as always, thanks again and have a good one.